Chapter 21 Trial. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Sharingan's clairvoyance is a total game-changer in this jungle, giving you a huge edge in dodging danger and spotting spirit beasts. Using ghostly shadow footwork, he moved like a phantom, his speed skyrocketing. Even in this tricky terrain, he could still haul serious ass. Qiu sized up the canyon. About 20 violent apes lived there, with a massive ape king standing about 16 feet tall and packing roughly 500 years of cultivation. The rest were 300-year-old soul beasts, plus some youngsters and babies. With the explosive packs he was carrying, even if he couldn't take down these soul beasts, he could definitely make a clean getaway. Standing above the canyon, his black robe billowing, Qiu took a deep breath and jumped without hesitation. The wind whipped past, pulling back the hood and revealing Qiu's face, a mix of nerves, excitement, and icy determination. Rocks tumbled from the canyon wall as Qiu landed, alerting the violent apes. A few of them immediately spotted him falling. Their rough, black faces showed a hint of understanding, and they let out cries that almost sounded like weeping. The whole group charged toward where Qiu was landing, kicking up a cloud of dust. Using the bushes on the rock wall to break his fall, Qiu landed on his feet, knees slightly bent to absorb the impact, hands out for balance. Shink, two wicked-looking daggers materialized in his hands. The world went dark as a shadow fell over him. A 7-foot-tall violent ape, barely 100 years old, was already right beside him. Its massive, palm-like hand swiped at him. Qiu's eyes darted, and he acted in a flash, dodging and slashing at the ape's leg joints with his dagger. *slash. The move looked fierce, but barely scratched the surface. Seriously tough hide. Qiu muttered, looking at the faint trickle of blood. Soul beasts were definitely built different. Ignoring the ape he'd left reeling, Qiu focused on his goal and charged into the oncoming horde. With the Sharingan active, their movement seemed slow and clumsy. He weaved through their swipes, not dumb enough to go head-to-head. Instead, he used ghostly shadows to dance around, dodge, and get closer to the ape king on the far side of the canyon. As he pushed deeper, he found himself surrounded. A 300-year-old violent ape took a swing from behind, aiming a haymaker at Qiu's back. Qiu backflipped out of the way, dodging the blow, and pulled out a makeshift sleeve arrow. *thwip, *thunk, that the arrow buried itself in the ape's eye, bursting the eyeball. Roar! The ape wailed, blood gushing, its chest heaving, and its fur standing on end. It went berserk, unable to tell friend from foe. It swatted away some of its weaker companions, throwing the group of apes into chaos. Roar! The ape king's roar echoed through the canyon. He was taking charge. The injured ape collapsed soon after, a yellow soul ring materializing above it. Its death only fueled the violent ape's rage. *bang. Bang! Bang! A few apes jumped around Qiu, trapping him and attacking at once. His red eyes locked onto the apes in front of him, and he immediately dragged them into an illusion. Their targets switched from Qiu to the apes behind them. He leaped high, using one ape's shoulders as a springboard to escape the circle. Qiu's eyes widened. The ape king had vanished from sight at that moment. Qiu's feet left the ape's shoulders, leaving him hanging in the air. On the ground, Qiu's shadow was suddenly swallowed by darkness. He looked up to see the ape king diving to kill him. Sharingan illusion. Xuanyu hand. Bang! He spun around and threw a punch, meeting the ape king head-on. Qiu was sent flying backward. *boom, the ape king hit the ground hard, dazed. Qiu crashed to the ground, rolling several times before stopping, clutching his shoulder. Damn, that was close. Phew. If he hadn't used the Sharingan to throw off the ape's attack, he'd probably be down for the count. Even so, his shoulder was throbbing. Roar! It roared, sending the other apes scattering in terror. Their king had gone berserk. Its eyes were bloodshot, filled with fury, and it charged at Qiu. Ghostly shadows. Against an unconscious opponent, the kite-flying tactic was perfect. During the fight, Qiu realized that using the Sharingan barely drained his soul power, but it was a serious mental workout. Time to end this. The Ape King's berserk state was fading, its speed slowing. The brief power-up was leaving it exhausted. Qiu went full-on sneaky, circling around its feet, the commas in his eyes swirled, confusing the ape, which just stood there dumbly. He found the sweet spot, and his dagger flew, ultimate martial arts secret, bullseye. Blood spurted from its backside, and the Ape King let out a pained howl. One hand clutched its chest, the other covered its wound. It crouched on the ground, fangs bared, glaring at Qiu. Yeah, it's a dirty move, but damn if it isn't effective. Ahem. Qiu muttered. Roar the Ape King, eyes blazing, was about to attack again, but the pain from its wound intensified with every move. Sharingan. Illusion, boom, both fists slammed into Qiu, kicking up dust and obscuring the scene. The other apes watched from the sidelines. As the smoke cleared, Qiu was being held aloft in the Ape King's hands. Oh, who they cheered, celebrating their victory, running around their king. Heh. Qiu looked at the apes surrounding him. They really stank. With a thought, the Ape King holding him up let out a whimper and sent them scattering. Looking closely, there were 3 tomo swirling in the Ape King's eyes. It was under Qiu's control. Controlling a 500-year-old soul beast is surprisingly easy. This way, when I hunt for soul rings, I can use other soul beasts as tool beasts to help out. Sitting on the Ape King's head, Qiu stroked his eyes, pleased with his martial soul's power. After using the Ape King to lead him out of the canyon, Qiu left, programming the violent ape to regain consciousness in about 7 minutes. Qiu didn't retrieve the dagger, letting it serve as a souvenir, mostly because he just didn't feel like going back for it. Leaving the canyon, Qiu began searching for his next target. These soul beasts were a little too young. He was after a millennium. Soul beast. Facing Tang San and Tang Hao with their twin martial souls, he needed every advantage he could get. End of this chapter. Chapter 22 Long Memory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The distant sound of apes couldn't stop Qiu as he moved through the forest. After running a good distance, the Ape King's scream echoed, that must have hurt, star. From then on, after a short rest, Qiu used his Sharingan to goad various spirit beasts everywhere he went. Spirit beasts felt his wrath, and he practically turned the place upside down. He encountered a boa constrictor, and after a brief struggle, Qiu controlled it, tying it into a knot under the Sharingan's hypnosis. An aggressive tiger turned into a purring kitten, obsessed with head scratches. Some people lick cats. Qiu cuddles tigers. Hard to tell who's the bigger beast. A strong black bear, lured with honey and delicious bear paws, chased him, only to get a sleeve arrow stuck in it. I'm Qiu, remember that. Then there was the disgusting Gale demon wolf, a real lowlife. For this beast, Qiu aimed between its hind legs and hammered it with a swift kick. Neuter first, then kill. 2 days had passed since he arrived at the soul-hunting forest. After those battles, Qiu was certain he could control spirit beasts up to 900 years old with his Sharingan. 1,000-year-old spirit beasts were too unruly. Trying to control a 1,000-year-old anaconda nearly ended with him half-swallowed. Luckily, he was fast. He also realized that injured spirit beasts were easier to control, especially near death. A plan formed in his mind. He could get his first purple soul ring without lifting a finger. Standing in a tree, Qiu looked toward Stormy Monkey Canyon, where he'd been ambushed, nodding slightly. Yeah, a good place to bury bones. I should get some backup, though. In Nottingham, Xiao Wu's eyes were red and swollen. She couldn't find Xiao Qiu. Xiao Qiu, where are you? She clutched a blood-stained black ribbon, found on a tree branch outside the city. She recognized it. It was Xiao Qiu's. Something must have happened to Xiao Qiu. Clutching the ribbon, she glared at Tang San, who was watching her from the corner. Her eyes were like ice. If anything happens to Xiao Qiu, Tang San will pay. Her gut told her Tang San was involved. Qiu was barely gone, and that snake was already making moves, bad-mouthing Xiao Qiu and slipping him a zhuge liannu. What a coincidence. Folding the ribbon, she put it in her pouch and headed toward the carving workshop where Xiao worked. The old couple there might have news. She darted into an alley, losing the creep following her. If Xiao hadn't warned her not to hurt Tang San, she wouldn't have just ditched him, she'd have taught him a lesson he wouldn't forget. Tang San, standing at the alley entrance, looked around. Where'd Xiao Wu go? Can't she accept reality? Is Xiao really that great? It's okay, I'll always be here for you. Who was Tang San? Without Xiao, he was Xiao Wu's closest friend. He had all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. The curious Xiao Wu would definitely be drawn to him. As Xiao Wu hurried to the carving workshop. In the hunting soul forest, a strange scene unfolded. An 8 or 9-year-old boy rode a 600-year-old spirit beast, a tiger spirit beast, one that Xiao had found and ridden straight out of its den. He was controlling it, heading toward Violent Ape Canyon, dam, without a saddle. Xiao felt like his butt was turning into jelly, but thankfully the canyon wasn't far. Like a yellow tornado, one man and one tiger appeared at the canyon's entrance. The commotion alerted the violent apes. The Ape King's eyes widened when it saw him. This was the guy who kicked his butt. Roar! The Ape King's roar enraged the violent apes, who charged at Xiao on all fours. Little tiger! Show them what you got. He patted the tiger's back, and it sprang into action. Its claws tore through the apes, scattering them, revealing the Ape King behind the pack. Heh! Didn't learn your lesson, huh? I'm cleaning you up today. Xiao figured he needed to make a deeper impression. Xiao Wu, get him! Roar! Xiao jumped off, rolled to soften his landing, and charged forward with the tiger. The Ape King was locked in a stalemate with the 600-year-old tiger, but Xiao was the key. If the Ape King didn't keep an eye on him, it was toast. Xiao slid under the Ape King, kicking it where it hurts the most. It was a low blow, using a tiger as muscle, but he wasn't strong enough to do it alone. With the kick, the Ape King crumpled to the ground. The tiger kept the other violent apes at bay, while Xiao approached the Ape King. TSK, much easier to control with illusion, otherwise, I'd have to work for it. With blood in his eyes, the now controlled Ape King numbly got up and stood behind Xiao. He commanded it to lead its pack out of the canyon. He was taking over the place. Now, the plan began. He carefully divided his explosive packs and planted them around the canyon. He clapped his hands, calling the exhausted tiger over, and hopped on its back. Time to catch that anaconda. In the dense forest, the tiger was beat. Behind them, an anaconda over 30 feet long burst from the bushes, the air thick with stench. The human had provoked it one too many times. It was fed up. Never had it seen such arrogance. The black anaconda flicked its tongue and twisted. It could handle any terrain, moving at a steady speed. Xiao kept patting the tiger's back. Hurry, hurry! Roar! The tiger replied softly. It had never been so humiliated. It wasn't being fed. It had to pull all the weight. It was being pushed to the limit. To survive, it had no choice but to follow Xiao all the way to the bitter end. Since its movements were out of its control, ping, sparks flew from the anaconda's forehead. Whenever it almost gave up, Xiao shot a sleeve arrow at its forehead. The arrows weren't deadly, just insulting. The anaconda opened its bloody maw, promising to tear the human limb from limb and swallow him whole. Thankfully, Xiao was using his Sharingan to watch the road, avoiding people. End of this chapter. Chapter 23 Sacrifice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Stop and go progress. A few messes left behind. Where the path splits, man and beast part ways, two paths diverged at the canyon's edge. Xiao scaled the wall, entering above. Arriving at the canyon's entrance, Xiao dismounted and climbed higher, using the small trees and shrubs on the rocky walls for purchase. Meanwhile, Huzi played bait, continuing into the canyon to lure the anaconda into the trap. A page from Sun Tzu's Art of War for a Stronger Life. Simple, but effective. Perched high, Yi Qiu watched the anaconda fully enter the canyon, a smile spreading across his face. He flicked the flint and steel towards the fuse. Boom. The explosion startled the pursuing anaconda. It stopped, turned, and found its retreat blocked by rockfall. His instinct screamed danger. It bolted for the canyon's far exit. It was fast, but Yi Qiu was faster, and the fuse even faster. Boom. Another blast sealed the other end. The anaconda was trapped, a mound of rubble separating it from the tiger cub. Now it was a cornered beast. Looks like the plan's working. Just need the final blow. Hang in there. Torch in hand, Yi Qiu's goal wasn't to kill it, but to bring it to death's door. He saw the anaconda trying to climb over the rubble and didn't hesitate. He lit the remaining buried explosives. Hiss! The anaconda sensed death, its thrashing body a frenzy. Boom! The blast echoed, even with the canyon walls, scattering birds, and sending nearby spirit beasts fleeing. Even the tiger cub flinched. Only Yi Qiu's illusion kept it from bolting. Yi Qiu's ears rang, but he couldn't delay. He needed to make sure the 1,000-year-old anaconda didn't die completely, just barely clinging to life. He'd used all the explosives, he didn't want to waste them. At the canyon floor, the anaconda was buried. Yi Qiu's eyes flashed, seeing its exact location. He signaled the tiger to dig with its claws. Damn! Yi Qiu was digging when a bloody snake head appeared. One eye was gone, pierced by shrapnel. Scales were shattered. It was a mess. Thankfully, it had some fight left. The anaconda glared at Yi Qiu with its one good eye, trying to strike, but powerless. Hiss! The blood-stained tongue was its last gasp. Yi Qiu felt a pang of sympathy, but that was the way of this world. The rules were set. The penance of spirit beasts for thousands of years was surpassed by humans in years. That was the sorrow of the beasts. Next, hope this works. Sharingan met Anaconda's gaze. Yi Qiu would try to control it and use it as a sacrifice. Near death, the Anaconda's mind was gone. It was easy to control. Its one eye morphed into Yi Qiu's Sharingan. He gave the order to sacrifice, but nothing happened. Yi Qiu started to feel disappointed. Then, a faint purple light emanated from the anaconda's body, spreading to Yi Qiu. Ha! Yes! It works! My first purple soul ring, that he yelled, then quickly controlled himself. He gave the tiger a mental command to protect him and sat cross-legged on the anaconda. He channeled his Shantian Kung, quickly absorbing the energy released in the sacrifice. Purple light streamed into him. Huzi kept watch, wary of other humans or spirit beasts. A bulky figure climbed towards the canyon rim, its big copperbell eyes full of rage, hate, and a little fear. Nodding city, engraving shop. Xiao Wu had arrived and burst inside. Boom! The door slammed open, and Grandpa Jerry nearly dropped his carving knife. I swear, why are you always so wild, you little rascal? Before Grandpa Jerry could speak, Grandma Tom, fanning him, started scolding Xiao Wu. This time, Xiao Wu didn't argue, but looked distraught. Have you seen Xiao Qiu? I can't find him. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her voice trembled. Grandma Tom was taken aback. She was experienced and probably knew something. Yi Qiu probably hadn't told the little girl his plans. He said a few days ago he was going soul hunting, but he hasn't come back, Xiao Wu said, wiping tears. Oh, Grandma Tom sighed. Soul Masters had a hard life. We saw him 2 days ago. He slept here for a night, Grandpa Jerry said honestly. Really? Where is he? Please tell me. Faced with her hope, Grandpa Jerry shook his head, looking at his wife. He left a letter for you, to give to you if he didn't return in 3 days. Grandma Tom said. Where is it? Show me. Xiao Wu grabbed her sleeve, but Grandma Tom shook her head. I can't show you now. Some things are best said in person when he comes back. You have to trust him. After begging, Xiao Wu left alone, praying Yi Qiu would return to her. Grandma Tom was right. She didn't need that letter. She wanted Yi Qiu to come back and tell her himself. And she'd hug him when he did. Thinking about it, her face was covered in tears. Far away in the hunting soul forest, the anaconda's sacrifice was ending. Its corpse was dull, and the purple light on Yi Qiu faded. A purple soul ring formed, rising beneath him. His soul power rose, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. It stopped at 30. Past accumulation and the anaconda sacrifice let him jump 4 levels. Yi Qiu smiled, savoring his body being filled with soul power. A faint sound above the canyon, swish. A bulky black shadow blocked the sky, falling on Yi Qiu. Yi Qiu's smile didn't change. The violent ape king, who had moved on, hadn't forgotten the pain of the lower body attack and was now launching a surprise attack from above. Yi Qiu looked up and slowly opened his eyes, a trace of blood appearing in the corners. He stared at the falling ape king. The 3-pointed jade in his eyes merged, unfolding into a beautiful hexagram. Boom. A crash. It should have hit Yi Qiu dead on, but it passed through him, hitting the ground beside him, and the blast of air knocked over the tiger cub. End of this chapter. Chapter 24 Dual Gods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The violent ape crashed to the ground, dust billowing. Yi Qiu, looking a little spectral, smiled faintly at the fallen ape king. Guess you didn't learn your lesson the first time. Roar. Unfazed by the missed attack, it immediately went berserk, hammering wildly at Yi Qiu. Too bad for him, all those punches landed harmlessly. Yi Qiu stood there, untouched. Had enough? Yi Qiu leaned in. Aiming for the vitals, he hammered a shot below the belt. The ape was already berserk and oblivious to defense. Thwack, this time, Yi Qiu didn't hold back. If he hadn't absorbed the spirit ring in time, he would have been crushed. This was just a little payback. Aw. Watching the violent ape writhe on the ground, Yi Qiu decided to move on. The commotion had probably drawn attention. He nodded to the tiger, who was just getting up, and took off. Huh. In the distance, a purple glow snagged Yi Qiu's attention. Could it be? Whoosh, almost instinctively, he used ghost shadow steps, snatching the object. The purple light rippled like flexible body armor. Humph, the violent ape almost messed that up. Yi Qiu was sure he held a soul bone, though it felt weird. A trunk bone? Why is it hollow and squishy? So Emperor, give me strength. It suddenly struck Yi Qiu that besides the 6-piece suit, there was something called an external spirit bone. Could it be an external spirit bone? That seemed right to Yi Qiu. So, using Sharingan to force soul beasts to sacrifice could also net a soul bone, a rare external one. Maybe he could assemble a complete set, quick as a bunny. Hearing sounds in the distance, Yi Qiu didn't dare linger. He kicked the violent ape again, transforming it from a lonely chump into a eunuch on a mission, with a pair of yellow legs going every which way. Focusing on the soul bone, he activated Sharingan. The space warped, like an invisible vortex, sucking the external soul bone in and vanishing. He hopped on the tiger and booked it. He used Sharingan to bypass other dangers on the way. Ha! Another gale wind demon wolf. The ever-vigilant Yi Qiu spotted another nasty male wolf ahead. Thump, he patted the tiger's back, signaling it to get closer. Perfect, let's try my left eye. As he spoke, the 6-pointed star pattern blazed in his eye, focusing on the gale demon wolf's waist. Divine might. He whispered. The gale demon wolf yelped in pain, trying to run, but it was too late. The warping space tore it in two, blood-soaked intestines splattering. Phew, that packs a punch. Yi Qiu grinned. A 600-year-old gale demon wolf, gone in a flash. Yi Qiu hopped off his steed. After riding the tiger for so long, he wanted to give it a treat before leaving. He gave it the wolf. After a couple of head scratches, Yi Qiu bolted towards the hunting soul forest exit. The tiger, its eyes clear, watched Yi Qiu go and howled after him. Roar grumble grumble, that the weak howl was lost to its rumbling stomach. Spotting the bisected Gale demon wolf, it dove in, a ravenous tiger eating fast, then looking up, finally, a full meal. Leaping through the jungle, Qiu wiped blood from his face with his sleeve. Blood stained the corners of his eyes, but he couldn't stop grinning. This trip was huge. Xiao Wu, I'm coming home, got a 1,000-year purple ring, 17th level soul power, Xiantian Kungfu broke through the second level, plus a soul bone. Even more exciting for Qiu was that his Sharingan seemed to have doubled its power. Yep, double Kamui. The power he dreamed of in his old life. After adding the soul ring, it had evolved into a kaleidoscope Sharingan, significantly boosting its illusion and observation powers. The left eye could warp objects from afar, attack enemies, transport oneself into the divine might space, and attack with spatial distortion, just like with that pervert violent ape. The right eye blurred anything attacked, able to evade physical attacks to a degree, teleport people and objects, mark space, and carry out long-distance teleportation through the divine might space. Awesome for saving your hide, escaping, pulling surprises, even storage. Qiu was baffled. Soul skills should be linked to the soul beast's traits, but Sharingan seemed different. The Anaconda's soul ring activated the divine might soul skill, even though they had nothing to do with each other. He could only figure that Sharingan was just too freaky to fit the rules. After all, when he used soul skills, even the soul ring didn't appear. Qiu could only conclude that his martial soul was just sensible. Picking up the pace, Qiu remembered the letter he had entrusted to Tom and his wife. Better get back that goodbye note. Now that Qiu had divine might, even if he couldn't beat the Tang family, he could definitely escape, right? It was afternoon now. The tattered Qiu finally returned to the carving workshop. Qiu. What a mess. Is this how a soul master acts? Granny Tom's scolding welcomed him. Qiu knew that her parents never came back from soul hunts. Even with soul power, she hadn't become a soul master, but married an ordinary guy. He couldn't tell her the truth, so he gave an awkward smile. A soul master does what a soul master's gotta do. Alright, Qiu, go wash up. I'll get you some new clothes. Grandpa Jerry pulled her back, then whispered, taking Qiu aside. When Qiu came out again, the old couple sat up straight, looking serious, and motioned him to sit. Qiu sat, expecting a lecture, but Grandma Tom just handed him the letter. That little girl came by this morning, but it wasn't time yet, so I didn't give it to her. He took it in silence and put it away. They exchanged glances. Then, Grandma Tom pulled out a box and put it on the table. Take a look. Qiu opened it to find a pink gemstone with a ring-shaped metal underneath. A ring? The old folks looked confused. What? Is that all your soul master knowledge? Grandma Tom snapped. Luckily, Grandpa Jerry calmed her down and said to Qiu with a smile, look closer. Qiu scratched his head. He really didn't know much. He held the ring. It's a space soul guide. He looked at the old man, surprised. They had something so valuable. End of this chapter. Chapter 25. Very bad person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This was a family heirloom from Tom's family. Originally, she came from a family of soul masters, but after her father-in-law and husband disappeared, their fortunes dwindled. What should have gone to the head of the household ended up with Tom. Are you allowed to talk about that? Before Grandpa Jerry could finish, the old woman shot him a disapproving look. That's not important. What matters is this will be yours. Give it to me. Qiu asked, surprised, pointing at himself. Yep, take it. We don't have any kids, and if we keep it, it'll just get buried with us. So, it's yours. Isn't this too valuable? What good is valuable when it's useless? Grandma Tom trailed off. You soul masters can't ever catch a break. I'm tired. Let's go. Old man, see him out. Okay. Qiu sat there, stunned, watching her head into the inner courtyard. Alright, Yi Qiu, grab your stuff and let's go. Grandpa Jerry shoved the item into Yi Qiu's hands and hustled him toward the door. Behind them, Grandma Tom's raspy voice called out, "That little girl's alright. She was crying something awful." Click, staring at the closed door, Yi Qiu couldn't help but feel touched, and a little moved by Grandma Tom's situation. He understood what she was trying to say. He stashed the object in his personal space, headed to a cloakroom, grabbed a black cloak, and set off toward Notting College. Near Notting College, Yi Qiu's pupils turned purple as he scanned the entire campus. His eyes burned slightly, and his face flushed, but he was certain Tang Hao wasn't around. Probably off drinking again. A six-pointed star flashed in his eyes as he activated his power, and Yi Qiu slowly sank into the ground. Xiao Wu was alone in the deserted 7th house, and hadn't gone to class since Yi Qiu left. Right now, she was hunched over the table, fiddling with the bamboo dragonfly in her hands. If I can just fix it, Xiao Qiu will come back. Yi Qiu's ghostly form materialized from the wall behind her, gazing at her slumped shoulders. He whispered, "Xiao Wu." She didn't respond. Am I just hearing things again? Xiao Wu. I'm back. Yi Qiu moved closer and called out again. Click. The bamboo dragonfly slipped from her fingers and landed on the table. Her eyes welled up before she even turned around. Yi Qiu stepped closer and placed a hand on her shoulder. I'm back. Xiao Qiu. She jumped up, spun around, and wrapped her arms around Yi Qiu's neck, burying her face in his chest. Xiao Qiu, you're finally back. Boo-hoo. It's all my fault. I broke the bamboo dragonfly you gave me again. I didn't mean to. Her voice choked with sobs, as if she'd committed a terrible offense. Before Yi Qiu could hug her back, she pulled away again, looking confused. She quickly retrieved a rectangular, box-like object from under the bed and presented it to Yi Qiu like it was a priceless offering. Xiao Qiu, look, this is the Zhuge repeating crossbow that Tang San gave me. Can I give it to you? Tears streamed down her face as she looked at Yi Qiu, her mouth trembling. Don't leave me, okay? Xiao Wu will do whatever you want. Anything, I'll help with. Seeing her like this, Yi Qiu realized he might not actually hate clingy girls all that much, at least not when it came to her. Okay, I know. I get it. He pulled her close and patted her gently on the back. Why would I leave you over something so small? After comforting her for a bit, she stopped crying. Relax, don't fight it. To prevent Tang Hao from showing up unexpectedly, Yi Qiu wanted to take her into his personal space with him. Okay. Xiao Wu listened and nestled quietly in his arms, not resisting at all. Yi Qiu's 3-day absence must have really scared her. A vortex appeared, and the two figures vanished, along with the bamboo dragonfly on the table. The 7th house fell silent. Inside the personal space, they were surrounded by endless stone platforms. Xiao Wu lifted her head from Yi Qiu's embrace, looked around at the unfamiliar surroundings, and couldn't help but ask, Xiao Qiu, where are we? This is the special space that comes with my first soul skill. He carefully wiped the tears from her face. Special space? Yep, check this out. Letting go of Xiao Wu, Yi Qiu took a few steps back, a hexagram appeared in his eyes, and a purple soul ring slowly rose from beneath his feet. 1,000-year soul ring. Xiao Wu covered her mouth in disbelief and rushed forward excitedly. Xiao Qiu, you're amazing. Yeah, getting better all the time. As they looked at each other, their voices changed, soft and weak. Her crimson eyes seemed to glow with a pink haze, and she rubbed against Yi Qiu like a pet. Her pretty face flushed. She was even more handsy this time, her legs wrapped around him, and she started playfully biting his face. Sin. He's just a kid. Looks like the mind-altering effect of Sharingan is getting stronger again. As Yi Qiu was thinking blankly, Xiao Wu's hands started tugging at his clothes. He quickly deactivated his martial soul. Huh. Long-term effects. Seeing that Xiao Wu seemed to be addicted to it, Qiu had no choice but to give her a light tap on the head. Ouch! Their eyes met, and Xiao Wu's face turned even redder, but she still managed to sneak in another bite before she backed off. Qiu rolled his eyes. He couldn't blame her for the first time, but the second time was definitely the rogue rabbit in her. Put your legs down, too. Okay, she replied guiltily, slowly wrapping her arms around him, but her body was still clinging to Qiu. Qiu looked at her suspiciously. I used too much strength just now, my legs are a little weak. Qiu was speechless. Was his Sharingan really that intense? He activated his power and switched to a different stone platform. This one had some tables and chairs on it. He sat her down on the stool, and her favorite carrot was already prepared on the table. You rest and have a snack. I'll fix this little thing. Okay. The little rabbit nodded obediently. While munching on the carrot, she gazed at Qiu beside her. Carrots weren't even her favorite food. Qiu wiped his face, getting rid of a lot of drool, then wiped it with his sleeve. He. Xiao Wu giggled on the side, ignoring her. Qiu continued to repair the object in his hand, this time adding some tiny wires to wrap around it. Xiao Qiu, were you in danger? Your clothes are covered in blood. Xiao Wu lay on the table, looking at him. Yeah, I ran into a very, very bad man. He was going to kill me. Kill you? Who was it? Xiao Qiu, tell me. I'll help you get revenge. Hearing that someone wanted to kill him, Xiao Wu immediately stiffened. He looked at her silently for a long time. Xiao Qiu, what's wrong? She tilted her head and asked curiously. Qiu put down what he was doing. He needed to be clear. It was a title Douluo. Buzz Qiu's understatement made Xiao Wu's head spin. The smile immediately froze on her face, turning pale and muttering to herself. Title Douluo. Chapter 26 Biting Shoulder. See you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Paleness washed over Xiao Wu's smiling face, replaced by fear. Xiao Qiu, why would a title Douluo try to kill you? Because he's Tang San's father. Qiu blurted out, explaining why he was trying to get her out of there that day. What? Tang San's father? Xiao Wu's eyes went wide, instantly fearing her true identity had been discovered. She trembled, biting her lip. She forced herself to stay calm, grabbing Qiu's arm, her concern focused on him. Are you okay? It was a blessing in disguise. My spirit evolved again, but... He paused, staring intently at her. But what? Xiao Wu avoided his gaze, unable to meet his eyes. Seriously, silly rabbit, shouldn't you be worrying about yourself first? Come. Boom! Hearing this, Xiao Wu seemed to short-circuit. She couldn't catch her breath, her head swam, and even the carrot she held dropped to the ground. Xiao Qiu, what are you saying? Panic edged her voice, and tears threatened to spill. Sigh. Qiu sighed, looking at her steadily. Actually, I've known all along. You're a soul beast in human form. Xiao Wu slumped on the stool, terrified. She feared her secret was out, but even more, that Qiu would reject her, hate her, and abandon her. Xiao Qiu, I didn't mean to deceive you. Xiao Qiu, Before she could finish, Qiu stood and closed the distance between them. He pulled her up to face him, he took her hand, interlacing their fingers. Xiao Wu didn't resist. She'd lost count of the times Qiu had held back. All that mattered was this was the first time he had kissed her, and she was overjoyed. Being inexperienced in these matters, Qiu was soon panting. He didn't release her, but their foreheads touched. Look at me, he said. Eyes still unfocused, Xiao Wu looked up, meeting his blood-red gaze. Without wasting words, Qiu used his Sharingan to show her everything. Tang Hao's plan to turn her into a spirit ring and spirit bone for Tang San, and everything he'd experienced the last few days. mixed in were also Yi Qiu's deepest thoughts. After a moment, Xiao Wu, having absorbed all the information, was more happy than surprised. Xiao Qiu cares about me, her eyes narrowed, and she looked at him softly, smiling. Foolishly. What are you laughing at? Nothing. Just saw something funny. Yi Qiu didn't dwell on it, assuming she was referring to the Ape King and his past transgressions. Xiao Qiu. Yeah, Xiao Wu tiptoed and lightly kissed him on the lips. I've always believed you. Of course. I promised I'd protect you, and I will, even if it kills me. Xiao Wu bit her lip, a sentimental look in her eyes. Well. I can't go with you this time. What? Yi Qiu was stunned. He let go of her and demanded, what do you mean? Why aren't you leaving Nodding City with me? Yi Qiu didn't understand. Don't you think I might kill you for your bones? No. Never. Hearing that, Xiao Wu became agitated, waving her hands to show she'd never considered that. Why would I think that way? If you really needed them, I'd give them to you, Xiao Wu said, her eyes earnest. Phew. I don't need your spirit ring, and definitely not your spirit bone. I won't let that happen. Yi Qiu turned away, feeling a surge of anger. Give me a reason. Why are you staying? Xiao Wu took his arm. Where are you going after Nodding City? Before Yi Qiu could answer, Xiao Wu jumped in. You're going to look for fairy grass, right? He nodded, not surprised she'd guessed. Xiao Wu wasn't stupid, after all. So. And there's someone guarding it. Xiao Wu fired off questions, not giving him a chance to speak. I bet there's a tidal Douluo there. Yi Qiu nodded. The location was close to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School and Heaven Do City. Besides, the ice and fire yin yang well belonged to Poison Douluo de Gubo. But, that wasn't a reason for Xiao Wu to stay. I have a divine space. You can stay there, Yi Qiu offered, knowing her temperament. I can be with you, and let you out when I have time. I don't want that. I'd be bored to death. Tang Hao already knows my identity. He already thinks you're dead. What if he figures out where you are? Xiao Wu stepped forward to hug him. I'm staying here to draw his attention. My safety is guaranteed until Tang San gets stronger. And if you run into any other tidal Douluos, Tang Hao is a free bodyguard. Hearing Xiao Wu's reasoning, Yi Qiu rubbed his temples. He was still too weak. The elation he had felt after activating his dual gods receded. His next stop, Heaven Do City, was behind Qianrenxue. I'll think about it, Yi Qiu said, avoiding her gaze, afraid his resolve would crumble. Okay, Xiao Wu said. What Xiao Qiu chose didn't matter, her mind was made up. Staying wasn't just for Xiao Qiu's peace of mind, it was to make the Tang family pay the price. So what if he was a tidal Douluo? If he couldn't beat her, he could pay for his son's crimes. And Tang San already wanted to kill Yi Qiu. If he liked her, she'd use him. Xiao Wu's eyes flashed with cruelty. Anyone who hurt Xiao Qiu would die. When Yi Qiu looked over, the hostility was gone without a trace. She was just Xiao Qiu's obedient little rabbit. Oh. Xiao Qiu, this ring is for you. Yi Qiu pulled out a beautiful box and took out the ring. For me. Xiao Wu stared at the pink gem, unable to look away. Yeah, it's the soul guide Grandma Tom gave me. I want you to have it. Yi Qiu had seen it for himself. 10 cubic meters was plenty of space. He took her hand and carefully put the ring on her ring finger. Thank you, Xiao Qiu. I love it. She pecked him on the cheek, turning her palm over to admire it. There's an external spirit bone inside. You should absorb it. Yi Qiu said. Xiao Wu knew this was Yi Qiu's last request, and she couldn't refuse. After she absorbed the spirit bone and Yi Qiu understood its function, he felt less worried. At their final parting, Xiao Wu hugged him tightly. I have nothing to give you. Hiss. Yi Qiu gasped as Xiao Wu bit him hard on the shoulder. You have to remember to come back to me. I will. Wait for me. With that, Yi Qiu sent Xiao Wu to an alley outside Notting College. I'm sorry, Xiao Qiu, Xiao Wu muttered, watching the sunset. She touched the ring on her finger and walked toward the college, a smile on her lips. End of this chapter. Chapter 27 Revenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Qiu watched Xiao Wu disappear into the distance, that soul bone she absorbed, the molted shell of a millennium beast. After absorbing it, her spirit power had already jumped to level 23, when activated, it coats her torso in a layer of incredibly tough, transparent cuticle, making her virtually invulnerable to attacks from soul masters at her level. She also mentioned it could absorb and convert energy, taking soul power from enemy attacks and turning it into fuel for herself. Best of all, it lets her shed her skin and be reborn, like a snake. If she's seriously injured, she can just molt. It only has a 3-year cooldown. Think Snake Woman, but a watered-down version. It really is the external soul bone every soul master dreams of. So many uses. This eased Yi Qiu's mind about Xiao Wu leaving. At least she had some way to protect herself. Actually, Xiao Wu tricked Yi Qiu so she could stay close. The Yi Hua still had one last trick, biomimicry. It hides Xiao Wu's soul beast aura. She didn't tell him, both because she didn't want to leave him and because she didn't want to be a burden. Plus, she was still simmering about Tang Hao and his son's attempt on him. She loved being able to do things for Yi Qiu. Watching Xiao Wu go, Yi Qiu's anger simmered, the fact that father and son had both been eyeing Xiao Wu, and he had just let her leave. I don't like it. That he glared back toward Notting College, the setting sun at his back. Time to collect a debt, starting with a little interest. At this time every day, Tang San was usually holed up in Yu Xiaojiang's room, cramming on theoretical knowledge. Sure enough, Tang San was sitting at the desk, poring over Yu Xiaojiang's so-called 10 core competencies of martial souls theory. Which, really, were just notes he'd jotted down while reading other people's books. What else could you expect from a great soul master who'd been disowned by his family? All he can do is hang around in the boonies, counting blades of grass and claiming even blue silver grass has soul power. No high-level soul master would give him the time of day. They only indulge him to be polite. Yi Qiu had already slipped into the faculty dorm. He saw Yu Xiaojiang in the hall, carrying a tray loaded with dinner for himself and his boyfriend. He was always doing stuff like this to give Tang San more study time. After Tang San's 3 ritualistic kowtows, he didn't even have any frustration in his heart. Using his kaleidoscope Sharingan, Yi Qiu poked his head out from the ceiling, and released the potent animal-grade laxative powder directly from his Kamui dimension, letting it drift down on Yu Xiaojiang like dust. Food, glorious food. Achoo! The powder irritated Yu Xiaojiang's nose, and he sneezed. Yi Qiu grimaced at the sight of the food. He wondered how much Tang San had drooled over it. Medicine delivered. Now, let it stew for a bit. With a swirl, Yi Qiu vanished from Notting City. He had zero interest in seeing how this master-apprentice act would play out. First, he'd head back to Bio Village, and then visit Holy Soul Village to pull weeds and collect some interest from Tang Hao. Since he'd already marked a location just outside the city in his personal dimension, it only took a few breaths to warp there. Stepping into the cool evening air, the sunset at his back, he strolled leisurely toward Bio Village. Little San, dig in. Yu Xiaojiang had barely stepped into the room before urging Tang San. Okay, teacher. Coming. Tang San closed his books. Yi Qiu's departure had made him a lot more relaxed. He wondered, who was still his competitor in the huge Notting College. The master and apprentice sat at the table like father and son. Just as Tang San picked up his rice bowl, he wrinkled his nose, as if he smelled something odd. Teacher, does this rice have a weird smell? Yu Xiaojiang sniffed too. Nope. Maybe you've been studying too hard and imagining things. Maybe. Tang San thought for a moment, confused. Without dwelling on it, he started in on the meal. Hiss. X2. Tang San, who was thinking about how to please Xiao Wu tonight, suddenly sucked in a breath. Yu Xiaojiang did the same. They exchanged a look. then dropped their bowls and bolted for the door. Because of some experiences in his early years, Yu Xiaojiang hated small spaces like outhouses, so there wasn't one in his room. In the outhouse on the first floor, they each occupied a stall, with only a thin wall between them. The sounds of urgency were endless. Stuck in this situation for too long, Yu Xiaojiang felt nervous and couldn't hold on to his toilet paper. He dropped it, picked it up, and blew on it. Hoo! The sound traveled to the next stall, where another teacher, already suffering from constipation, was not amused. "What are you blowing at? You gonna burn your mouth with what's in your pit?" That Yu Xiaojiang froze. The paper fell from his hand and plopped into the pit. His face flushed. "How dare you accuse me of such filth?" I. He sputtered, unable to explain. "Teacher, don't worry about it." Tang San interjected at the perfect moment. Yu Xiaojiang finally regained some composure. He saw where his paper fell, reliving the trauma from years ago. Inevitably, he fainted and collapsed in his stall. Teacher. On his way back, Yi Qiu could never imagine that his laxative plan took down Yu Xiaojiang alone, leaving Tang San to clean up Yu Xiaojiang's mess. As darkness fell, Yi Qiu rode a 10-year-old iron-hoofed horse requisitioned from the forest. With a blue-silver grass stalk in his mouth, he galloped home under the moonlight. Back at Dorm 7, Tang San had finally cleaned up after Yu Xiaojiang, returning exhausted. Even though he was tired, his eyes scanned the room. Tang San suddenly noticed that Yi Qiu's bed next to Xiao Wu was gone. Not wanting to step on any toes, he didn't ask Xiao Wu directly. Instead, he went to Wang Sheng first. "Wang Sheng, what's up with that? Isn't Xiao Wu super protective of Yi Qiu's stuff? If you piss her off, I'm not taking the blame." "Third brother," Wang Sheng cried. "Xiao Wu was the boss of Dorm 7. Who would dare cross her? Sister Xiao Wu did it herself." "What?" Tang San's spirit soared. Could it be that Xiao Wu had seen the light? Was she finally going to forget that loser Yi Qiu? Sitting cross-legged on her bed, Xiao Wu had already noticed Tang San's return. From across the room, Xiao Wu snapped at him, "I threw Yi Qiu's junk away, got a problem with that?" No, not at all. Xiao Wu, you're absolutely right." Tang San waved his hands frantically, ignoring Wang Sheng's disgusted stare. He was a changed man. "Really? Totally. For sure." Xiao Wu nodded quickly, finally willing to talk to him. "I'm in a bad mood. Go fetch me some water to wash my feet." What? You gonna argue? Then Wang Sheng, you do it." Xiao Wu waved her hand dismissively, telling Wang Sheng to hurry up. "Wang Sheng. Stop right there. Get away from that foot bath." "I'll do it." Tang San snatched the basin from Wang Sheng and ran off to fetch water. Watching Tang San's retreating figure, Wang Sheng's lips curled in distaste. Xiao Wu just smirked. What a delusional toad. How dare he think he has a chance? The real fun is just beginning. She rubbed the ring on her finger. She'd never throw away Yi Qiu's things. She even put Yi Qiu's bed away. Chapter 28 Warmth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long after, Tang San came back with a basin of water and hurried to Xiao Wu's bedside. Setting the basin down, he'd been showing off for so long that he was a little drained. Just fetching water had brought a sheen of sweat to his forehead. "Xiao Wu, your foot bath is here." "Thanks," Xiao Wu said, her voice clear and bright, not even glancing at him. "Anything for you." She didn't react at all to Tang San's soft tone, instead feeling a bit creeped out by him staring at her feet like that. Tang San hovered nearby, waiting. Xiao Wu tentatively dipped her little feet into the water, then snatched them back. "Ow! You jerk! It's freezing." She glared at him. "Huh? What's wrong, Xiao Wu?" Tang San asked, snapping out of his reverie. Why did you get cold water? You'll catch a cold. Xiao Wu pulled her feet out and tucked them back under the covers. It's okay, I'll take care of you if you get sick. You mean you deliberately brought cold water? Xiao Wu frowned, giving him a frosty look. No way. I'll go get more right now. Tang San realized he'd misspoke and quickly tried to recover. Humph, go then. Xiao Wu lay back down, staring at the ceiling. The second time, the water was scalding hot, and Xiao Wu wasn't happy either. It's way too hot. That when she finally said she'd do it herself, Tang San objected. I'll go. He said he also wanted to soak his feet, so he could use it as an excuse. Without another word, he went off again. As he walked away, Xiao Wu called out. Wang Sheng. Yes, Miss Xiao Wu, what's up? Wang Sheng asked, bowing and scraping. Even their third brother was wrapped around her finger. Tell him not to bother me when he gets back. I'm going to sleep. Also. Xiao Wu paused, giving Wang Sheng a strange look. Anything else? Wang Sheng asked, puzzled. Doesn't he smell like an outhouse? Tell him to wash up later, or he's not allowed near my room. Got it? Got it. After giving her orders, Xiao Wu covered her mouth. She was really sleepy. Tang San wasn't going anywhere anyway, she'd deal with him later. Clutching the blanket Yi Qiu had bought her, she slowly closed her eyes. Tang San learned his lesson this time, returning with cold water in one hand and hot in the other. He could adjust the temperature to whatever she wanted. Unfortunately, Xiao Wu was already asleep. When he heard about her earlier instructions, he didn't argue. It was true, after all. The scene in the teacher's cubicle that evening had almost overwhelmed him. If Xiao Wu wanted him to clean up, that meant she cared about him, right? Tang San went to bed late that night, but he was happy. Little did he know, this was just the beginning. The starlight was insignificant. In the dead of night, no one was around. Relying on the speed of his 10-year-old soul beast iron-hoofed horse, Yi Qiu had already arrived at the entrance of Bio village. He dismounted, summoned his spirit, and the iron-hoofed horse sank into a vortex and disappeared before his eyes. Looking at the familiar village entrance, Yi Qiu didn't linger. He walked, looking around. He hadn't realized it had been almost 3 years since he'd left. The stone house at the end of the village wasn't as dilapidated as Yi Qiu had feared. The village chief, Mr. Zhang, must have been taking care of it. He paused for a long time under the nearby peach tree before opening the door and going inside. There wasn't much dust. The layout was the same as when he'd left, and the wooden horse he'd made for Xiao Wu was still in place. He took a blanket from his personal space, put it on the bed, and spent the night there. Hey, old Yeto, it's me, Zhang. Just checking on you. I wonder how your grandson is doing in Notting City. Early in the morning, Yi Qiu was awakened by an old voice outside. It was old man Zhang's voice. Click. Yi Qiu got up and opened the rickety wooden door. Seeing old man Zhang outside, he was sitting cross-legged under the peach tree, drinking his homemade fruit wine, taking sip after sip. Grandpa Zhang. Yi Qiu said. Huh? Old Yeto, did I just hear that kid's voice? Am I drunk? He looked at the wine bottle in his hand. Even though he hadn't drunk in a while, it was just fruit wine. It couldn't be that strong, could it? Grandpa Zhang, you're not drunk. I'm really back. Yi Qiu folded his arms across his chest, leaned against the door frame, and smiled at old man Zhang sitting on the ground. Hey! Old man Zhang turned around, rubbed his eyes hard, forgot his crutches, and stumbled toward Yi Qiu. Yi Qiu, is that really you? It's really me. Yi Qiu walked over and steadied him. Ha! You've gotten so tall, kid. And handsome. Old man Zhang squeezed his arms and shoulders, looking him up and down, but before he could finish praising him, he started scolding him again. When did you get back? Didn't think to stop by. You afraid I'm gonna bother you? Grandpa Zhang, why do you still say things like that? I didn't get here until midnight. I didn't want to disturb you. Yi Qiu was sweating. He walked to the side, bent down, picked up the dropped crutch, and put it back in his hand. Alright, I guess that's okay. He tugged at his gray beard, ignoring Yi Qiu's eye roll. She pulled him to go home. Why don't you come to my house for breakfast? I'll cook you something. Sounds great. Yi Qiu rubbed his stomach. He hadn't eaten dinner, and he was definitely hungry. Then pay your respects to old Yeto first, and I'll go tell your aunt. Okay, be careful. Watching the old man shuffle off on his crutches, Yi Qiu couldn't help but smile. Everything felt so familiar and homey after finding some incense sticks in the stone house. Yi Qiu took over old man Zhang's spot, knelt down, held the incense above his head, and kowtowed before sticking each one in the ground. Then, leaning against the old peach tree, he whispered about his experiences over the past few years. Grandpa. In the past few years, I met a girl who was cute and well-behaved. I met Mr. and Mrs. Jerry, who are so kind. I met the Tang family, father and son. It was dangerous, but I made it. I became a soul master, still weak, but getting stronger. Yi Qiu talked for a long time, until quite a bit of time had passed. He got up and walked to the village chief's house. Old man Zhang and his wife were very welcoming. Even though it was just breakfast, it was quite a spread. Of course, it would be perfect without the braised rabbit. Xiao Qiu, come on, eat more meat. You're too skinny. Aunt Zhang was very enthusiastic, putting the best pieces of rabbit leg into his bowl. Yi Qiu smiled politely and didn't refuse. Hee. Old man Zhang smiled cheerfully. What a coincidence, today's the day Lao Yeto picked you up 9 years ago. Your aunt knew, so she deliberately slaughtered the rabbit she bought yesterday. A birthday celebration. Thank you, Auntie. Yi Qiu's eyes welled up. These ordinary people at the bottom of the mainland made him feel the warmth of home. Dad. Why are you bringing that up? Drink your wine. Chapter 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When he got back to the stone house, he was stuffed and had nothing to do. So, Yi Qiu fixed the place up a bit. As dusk settled, the evening light painted the peach trees, and the autumn leaves rustled in the breeze. Time to move on. The peach tree swayed, almost like it was nodding goodbye. A portal shimmered into existence, and he slipped away quietly. Before leaving, he'd secretly stashed some of his gold soul coins at old man Zhang's place. Next up, weed pulling in Holy Soul Village. After Yi Qiu left, Aunt Zhang called out from outside the stone house, Little Qiu, you hungry? Dinner time, sweetie. She looked around, but he was already gone. Well, ain't that just great? Took off without so much as a goodbye. Meanwhile, Yi Qiu was already riding his horse. Bo Village is west of Nodding City, and Holy Soul Village is south of it. They aren't too far apart, just a few hours' ride, give or take. Last time he rode home from dusk till midnight. Now he was riding from dusk till dawn. He paused on a hillside, looking down at the village below. Holy Soul Village was a bit bigger than Bo Village. He hopped off his horse, let it munch on some feed, and started practicing his purple demon eyes, which he'd been stuck on the subtle state for ages. As the morning sky brightened, the purple energy faded, and Yi Qiu's eyes glowed crimson. After scanning Holy Soul Village, he finally understood why Tang Hao had brought Tang San here to hide out. The location was strategic. Fastno province sits right where the Tiando and Xinglua empires meet, and Nodding City is less than 50 miles from the Xinglua Empire. Holy Soul Village is practically on the border, close to the no-regret zone. Plus, it's relatively near the Star Do Great Forest. If things went south, Tang Hao could bolt into the forest with Tang San and keep him safe. Looking at the edge of the Great Star Forest, sprawled out like a giant beast, Yi Qiu figured he might just check out the biggest soul beast forest sometime after he got what he came for. After staring for a while, his vision started to blur. He rubbed his stinging eyes and climbed back onto his horse. Giddy up, He'd spotted the waterfall while he was looking around, grinning. He kept whipping the poor horse, Tang Hao's wife. "Here I come, Yi Qiu." He felt a little thrill. Sure, it was just some grass he was about to swipe, but it was Haotian Douluo's wife and the protagonist's mom. Who else can say they've done that? Giddy up! The roar of the waterfall grew louder, the rushing water creating a thick mist, cloaking everything in a hazy spray. The closer he got, the more alert Yi Qiu became, his eyes still glowing red. He couldn't afford Tang Hao spotting him and blowing his cover. Whoa there! He pulled the reins. The horse reared up, and Yi Qiu hopped off. A vortex opened, pulling the horse back into the divine space. Looking through the curtain of water, he saw the blue-silver emperor, swaying beautifully in the dim, damp space. His body flickered, infused with divine power, and he sank slowly into the ground. In a flash, he materialized inside the cave behind the waterfall. Rising slowly from the ground, he scanned the surroundings. Just rock walls and blue-silver grass growing on the ground, with the blue-silver emperor right in the center, surrounded by its kin like stars around the moon. Yi Qiu checked around, but found nothing else. Then, he crouched down next to it, activating his Sharingan. He carefully examined the vibrant grass in front of him. So this is the blue-silver emperor. It really is something else. Yi Qiu reached out and gently stroked its golden-blue stem a few times, then teased its golden-patterned leaves. Maybe it was his imagination, but it seemed to respond to him, the little leaves almost beckoning him. "Sorry, but I'm just doing what I gotta do." He pulled out a small shovel and a flower pot and started transplanting it. As he dug into the damp soil, Yi Qiu frowned. He glanced at the other, ordinary blue-silver grass nearby. They were all the same, whether perky or droopy, whether Tang Hao really didn't know what he was doing, or just didn't care. Yi Qiu didn't know. In this damp, dark environment, the blue-silver emperor was probably the only one still alive. The rest of the blue-silver grass probably rotted away long ago. Finally, the blue-silver emperor was successfully transplanted. The wife-snatching mission was half done. He stowed the flower pot, then produced a jar of yellow curry. The real deal. Next, he randomly picked the most energetic-looking sprig of spiritual grass. "Now it's your turn to cover for your emperor." "Heh." Yi Qiu chuckled. When it didn't respond, Yi Qiu took it as a yes, pulled it up, and planted it where the blue-silver emperor had been, then opened the jar and poured the fragrant curry all over it. Done. Yi Qiu stood up and clapped his hands. All finished. He activated the six-pointed star and prepared to leave. Huh. Yi Qiu paused. Something felt off. Concentrating, he scanned the cave again, almost missing a 10,000-year-old soul bone. Sure enough, his enhanced vision picked up something odd on one section of the rock wall to the left. Why didn't I see it before? Some kind of formation. Oh well, too bad. He'd been discovered, and now he wouldn't hesitate. His left eye flared, and the rock wall twisted. Crack. The rock cracked. Boom. Gravel tumbled to the ground. There was a small box hidden inside. Yi Qiu snatched it up. Without pausing to admire the spirit bone inside, he vanished, and with that, his little shopping trip was over. Far away in Nodding City, Tang Hao was lurking in the shadows, watching Tang San being chased by Xiao Wu down the street. Not that he wanted to stop him, but the last time he went after Yin, it was the same way. So he didn't mind it so much. What's wrong with chasing girls, or doing a few extra chores? What's more, this is a sure thing. Tang Hao's cloudy eyes gleamed. Suddenly, as if sensing something, his nostalgic expression turned to ice. His eyes widened. Bastard! He roared, and raced toward Holy Soul Village. Someone had broken his formation and was after Yin's soul bone. And Yin was there. Who is it? Who is it? I'm going to kill you. He didn't even leave Nodding City before he was flying, roaring in a panic. Gotta hurry. Gotta hurry. High above Holy Soul Village, a figure in a black hat streaked across the sky, and landed hard by the waterfall. Bang. He hit the ground with a thud. kicking up dust, boom. The crashing waterfall exploded into a curtain of water. Tang Hao didn't even pause, but went right into it. Chapter 30 Star Do Great Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the explosion, Tang Hao's wail ripped through the air. "No," that he stared at the scene, eyes wide, legs buckling. He raised his hands overhead and collapsed to his knees, as if expecting snow to fall from the cave ceiling. A gaping hole marred the rock wall. The brocade box was gone. In its place, a lump of sickly yellow-orange sat where the blue-silver emperor had been. Tang Hao scrambled to it, hands trembling as he pushed away the discolored mess. "Ian," he choked out, his voice a ragged sob. He buried his face in his hands, the tough guy finally breaking down. "I failed you." The spicy curry in his eyes added to the torment, tears streaming down his face. They splashed onto what remained of the blue-silver emperor, washing away a tiny leaf. The golden lines, where were they? Tang Hao stared, bloodshot eyes stinging, but he didn't even notice. He was completely devastated. Utterly defeated. He'd thought only the bones were gone, but even the plant was missing. "Ugh! Arg!" He roared, his soul power exploding. Even the killing god domain unleashed a wave of terrifying force, slamming into the cave walls. Boom! Boom! The cave began to collapse. Water rushed backward, and even the waterfall seemed to pause. Tang Hao's eyes were blood red, like a predator on the hunt. "Ian! Who did this? Who did this? I, Tang Hao, will hunt them down." That his words were fierce, but his constantly blinking eyes gave him a strange, almost comical look. He began to search, but it was a lost cause. Near the Star Do Great Forest's edge, Qiu seemed to catch Tang Hao's roar on the wind. He pictured Tang Hao's tears and couldn't help but chuckle, thinking of his carefully prepared curry. He glanced towards Holy Soul Village, a smirk playing on his lips, then turned and plunged into the dense forest. He was headed north, to Qiando City. The Star Do Great Forest straddled both great empires. Thick vegetation and towering trees blotted out the sun. Any soul beast a person could imagine could be found here, even 10,000-year ones, for those strong and lucky enough to find them. The dim environment felt oppressive as Qiu moved swiftly, leaping and sprinting through the trees. "Right, time to see what I got." He landed on a massive branch and summoned the blue-silver emperor in its flower pot. The plant seemed invigorated, as though returning home. It shook with delight. Qiu stroked it gently. The blue-silver emperor didn't resist, instead clasping his finger between two leaves, which was odd. Could my Sharingan be affecting the blue-silver emperor? Qiu wondered. If that was the case, his eyes were seriously indiscriminate, affecting anything of the opposite sex, human or beast. Wait. Xiao Wu was a beast too. That was different. She was practically human. Withdrawing his hand, Qiu pulled out the brocade box. As soon as he opened it, a flash of blue-gold light revealed the blue-silver emperor's right leg bone inside. It was crystal clear, flecked with tiny grains of gold, like stars. The blue-silver emperor sensed the familiar aura and stretched toward the bone, but its leaves were too short to reach. Qiu considered the bone. What he needed most was power, and a 10,000-year soul bone was a serious boost. His eyes flashed with the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Qiu returned the blue-silver emperor to the Kamui dimension. He intended to absorb the right leg bone. He sat cross-legged and pressed the bone against his calf, channeling the Xian Tian Gong to slowly absorb it. The blue-gold energy flowed, and Qiu's soul power steadily climbed, level 17, 18, 19, finally stopping at level 20. Once he obtained another soul ring, his power would skyrocket. He'd gone from level 10 to a great soul master in just 2 weeks. The Star Do forest was plunged into darkness, with only a few glowing plants illuminating the area. "Aya! Help me!" A scream pierced the night, then came an angry shout, "Damn it! Martial Soul Awakening! Second Soul Skill, Charge! Fourth Soul Skill, Ghost Claw!" That a few miles away, a group of masked men in black stood in the forest, horrified as they watched their companion's blood being sucked dry by blood vines. "Boss, let's call it a night. It's too dangerous out here," one suggested to the leader. Ken Leopard, standing at the front, dismissed the 4 soul rings, white, yellow, and purple, glowing around him. The Star Do Great Forest at night was dangerous, thanks to that injured woman who just wouldn't die. His voice was grating and hoarse. "We'll camp here, but let's get one thing straight. If you let her escape, you're all dead. Understand?" Ken Leopard's grim words sent a chill through the others, who quickly swore. "Don't worry, boss, we'll catch her." Yeah, and when we do, we'll make sure you get a good taste, big brother." "Ugh." The man flattering him suddenly clutched his throat, eyes wide as he stared at the figure that had appeared before him. Boss, what are you doing?" someone asked, confused. Ken Leopard licked the blood from his dagger, his snake-like eyes sweeping over them. "You better remember your place. We're just dogs. We can't touch the master's woman." Yes, they all nodded frantically. Nearby, a young girl lay on the ground, her blood drying, but her spirit unbowed. She gritted her teeth, not daring to make a sound, and crawled slowly, her bloodied fingers dragging through the dirt. Thorns tore at her face and body. She didn't utter a word, her dark eyes filled with resolve. She just wanted to live, to survive and thrive. Inside the Kamui dimension, the blue-gold glow around Yi Qiu had faded. The blue-silver emperor's right leg bone was gone. He smiled, sensing his improved soul power. "Tomorrow, I get my second soul ring." That the 10,000-year blue-silver emperor's right leg bone had granted him 2 skills. The first was flight, which, as the name implied, allowed him to fly. The second was wildfire never dies, spring breeze brings it back to life. In keeping with the blue-silver grass's nature, it offered exceptional healing, even limb regeneration. He drew a small knife and scratched his arm. Blood welled up, then the wound miraculously closed, leaving no trace. The healing is seriously impressive. Yi Qiu had absorbed the soul bone after careful thought. Using his Mangekyo Sharingan too much caused blurred vision and pain. He figured this was a side effect and feared he might go blind. Now, with this soul bone, he'd have significantly improved stamina. The bone's healing ability should help mitigate the damage from overusing his eyes. However, Yi Qiu believed that the key to solving the problem lay in the piercing autumn dew of the ice and fire yin-yang eyes, which might allow the Mangekyo Sharingan to bloom forever.